How you doing? I'm Xavier Price, and today I'm interviewing a young entrepreneur. I'm gonna start off by asking her what's her name, so she say her name and what's the business and what's really going on with her business. So today I have the pleasure of speaking to
Tasha Smith.
Okay, and the name of your business?
S&B Savory Sensations.
Okay, so we're basically gonna be talking about Tasha's business today, and just for the record, this interview is being conducted March 6, 2014. So just with those short, brief questions, what is the location of your business?
Miramar, Florida.
Okay, and is this just one establishment or you have more than one?
We have one location that's mobile because it's like a food truck business and also a catering service.
Okay. And the position of that you have within the company is?
I'm the accounts manager.
Okay, is this a family business?
Yeah, it's myself, my mom, and my dad.
Okay. So now that we answered all the basic questions, we get into the real questions. And we're going to start off with some startup questions, basically trying to figure out what made you decide to open up your own business.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. So what gave you like inspiration to start up your own business?
Well, when I was growing up and like all my life, my parents, like everybody would tell my mom that you're such a very good cook, that you should cook for other people and maybe you should start charging them and things like that and start your own business and try and make a venture out of it. So after years and years of her hearing that, me, myself, my dad and my mom, we all sat down, thought of a business plan about like how much we would all invest into the company, how much we would spend weekly compared to how much money we make back. And we just said, okay, we're going to wing it and go with it.
Not a bad idea. Okay. So I want to get more into the business plan aspect of your business. And what I want to know is how much time and money and planning did it take before deciding to open up your own business?
Well, we saved for probably like 6 months because, of course, it's a food truck service mostly. Like, we go out on weekends because we all have individual full-time jobs. And, like, we would sell, like, in this central area where there's a lot of traffic flow. And people would come and buy, but we had to invest in the food truck first of all. So we saved about 15 grand to purchase the food truck and make sure that it was customized to fit our needs.
Okay. I like that. So out of all the places in Florida, what made you decide, or your family as one decide to have a business in Miramar, Florida?
Well, I grew up in South Florida, but I lived in Jacksonville for quite a while. And that's where we initially started the business, which was in Jacksonville. So it was doing fairly well in Jacksonville. There wasn't a lot of businesses for the type of food that we sold, which was like urban food, southern cooking, and a lot of island food also. So it did very well up there. People loved it. So when we moved down, we were like, why would we stop? Because we do know a lot of people down here, and we know like a lot of things work by word of mouth.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a good reason for it to be in this location. So my next question would be like, what's the important question is how did people hear about your business? Like, what was your advertisement scheme? Where was it word of mouth, website, flyers?
Well, we initially, when we were in Jacksonville, we did do a lot of flyers, but we realized that a lot of times people get flyers when you're on the street and they just throw it in the trash. So it was like money going down the drain. Okay. So then we got a little bit smart about it, and social networking was a good way of like Facebook and Instagram. And like we have a lot of family members who would like retweet it or redo it, like repost, and like spread the word of mouth to friends and family members, and then those friends and family members will pass it on. So it was a just great big networking kind of system, and those people who would come to us on a weekly basis would tell their friends, and we would get more and more business throughout the weeks that we kept going.
Okay. So once business started picking up, did y'all decide on, hiring other people, or you just want to keep it in the family?
We kind of kept it in the family. I have an older sister who occasionally she would come out also and help us out, but it's not like we had like a payroll system per se. It was more like myself, my mom, and my dad investing in the company, and my sister would just come and lend a helping hand.
Okay. Okay. So, I wouldn't want to say, let's see, how can I say this question? Were you kind of hesitant working with family members? Like, did you think it was going to be a conflict working in the family business?
I didn't think it would be a conflict necessarily. I know they're my parents. They've always been there for me. Like, they will always be there for me. So if there would have been a disagreement with them or things would have went south, regardless, they're still my family. It's not like I'm working with distal family members like cousins or uncles and aunts and things like that. I invested my hard-earned time and money into people I trusted and who are close to me in my immediate family.
Okay. So let's take a shift. We're going to get back to some more general questions. I just want to get a little breakdown on how the business was going daily. So
Okay.
what would be, let's see, what's a typical day working with your business? Like, I wouldn't want to say from morning to night, but just in general, what's a typical day for your business?
Well, since we mostly did it like per diem, like as needed, and then on the weekends when we didn't work, we would start to prepare the foods like throughout the week, like food prep of like the meats to have them seasoned and things like that, like a few days before the weekend, and then also like wake up early the day of that we have events or things like that to start to prepare ourselves. That way we have the supply for the demand.
Gotcha. Okay. That sounds like an interesting day-to-day type of setup. I know most people will want to have success on their own business, but what makes you feel your business is a success?
Just to see the smiles on people's faces, knowing that we see the same people over and over and over again, or having newcomers come and say that somebody else referred them, and just to know that they're happy as they're leaving with no disappointment and they're satisfied with our product and what we're selling, that makes us happy at the end of the day. And not always success comes from monetary value. So not just the money aspect, but we're just very customer service oriented family. So we're just happy to see others happy.
Okay. So before I continue with a couple more general questions, I wanted to take a shift to, let's say, the legal part of owning a business. Was it like any class you had to attend or any certain requirements, as in like license wise, to open up this business?
We did have to obtain like OSHA regulations, and we have to go through, like when we did like festivals, for instance, we would have to have clearance from the food industry and the FDA and things like that to make sure that we're completely clean and make sure everything's sanitary. That way, they know that we're not a roach coach, for instance.
Gotcha. Okay. So we're gonna wrap up just in a bit. I just have maybe 2 more questions for you.
Okay.
Everybody know that wherever something's good, there's always gonna be something bad. So I would want to kind of figure out, what was your worst experience while operating your own business?
Probably one of the worst experiences was like, we were at a festival once that it was away from our home, because usually we try and have things like in our hometown or around it, but we were at a festival that was away from our home that was supposed to last 3 days, but by midday of the second day, we ran out of supplies, and it really disappointed the customers, and we all felt disappointed. Also, not just because, like I said, the monetary way, but we wanted to make sure that everybody left happy, and the feeling that they came back and they're like, oh, we really wanted more of this or more of that, they couldn't have what we were supposed to supply.
Okay. Okay. I have two more questions before we wrap it up. If there's one thing you go back and change about operating a business, your own business, what would you change?
Maybe we could possibly think about branching out and like expanding, possibly opening like a permanent location or going from that. But then there's like so many more complications when it comes to opening permanent locations, and there's so many more strings attached when you're locked down at one place, because then you can't move where you need to go or where people need you for in any instance.
Okay. And for my final question, what would be the best advice to give someone starting their own business?
If you're thinking about starting your own business, just go for it. You just have to make sure that everything's solid, that you have all your finances together before you actually jump into it, because you don't want to start something and then 2 days, 3 days down the road or a few weeks down the road, you realize that the workload is too much or that you don't have enough resources to carry on.
Okay. I guess that'll be all the questions I wanted to ask, so I can get a little bit more familiar with opening up the business.
Okay.
So thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
This was Tasha Smith, and I'm Xavier Price, and that's the end of my interview.